Welcome to Everyday Life with Cecilia. Today we are starting our next chapter in this YouTube vlog, namely videos about our travels here in Canada, and to start with, here in our corner of southern Alberta. Today we are heading out to Waterton Park for the day. We have been cooped up for what seems like forever with COVID and recently a really cold stretch of weather. So we're really excited to head out and get a change of scenery. Waterton Lakes National Park is about an hour and a half from our home in Lethbridge. It is located in the extreme southwest corner of Alberta, bordering both the province of British Columbia and the United States of America. It's not a very big park. It's only around 200 square miles or 500 square kilometers in total area. It was established in 1895, but until recently it was one of the best kept secrets in Canada, I think. This will likely be the first of many videos that we will be making about Waterton, because it's one of our favorite spots and it's just so beautiful. And also because every time you go there, it's just a completely different experience. I like to refer to this as the many moods of Waterton. Today you will see Waterton as not very many people do, namely during the winter. But follow us as we show you Waterton throughout the year as the seasons change and Waterton shows us her many different moods. Waterton Lakes is made up of a chain of 3 connected lakes. The largest one is called Upper Waterton Lake, and about a third of it is actually in the United States. As we approach the park, you can see that the Alberta prairie pretty much runs right up to the base of the mountains. There's farmland right up to the border, right up to the boundary of the park, with either farming or ranching, and then the mountains start almost immediately. See that the partly cloudy skies have turned into mostly cloudy skies, so we're probably going to be in for some possible snowfall throughout the day. As some of you may have heard, Waterton had a fairly major wildfire in September of 2017. It had a significant impact on the park, and I'll be making reference to it throughout some of the footage today and in future episodes. It was caused by a severe lightning storm, and it affected almost 38% of the park was burned. The fire burned for around a month until it was considered under control. 148 firefighters and 11 helicopters were used to fight the fire for that time period. So in addition to 38% of the forest being damaged, there was also extensive damage to roads and hiking trails and buildings. Luckily, the town site itself was mostly spared. There was very little damage in the town site, and that was because they had high-volume water pumps and an extensive sprinkler system set around the perimeter of the town site, and that pretty much saved the town site. Here we are crossing the Waterton River, which flows out of Lower Waterton Lake, the last of the 3 Waterton lakes. Until recently, Waterton was officially closed during the winter. It was still open. You could still drive into the park and use the park, but you didn't have to have a pass and you didn't have to pay for entry. That's changed in the last few years, and now it's open year-round, and people live there year-round. And there are some services year-round, but in any event, you do need a pass now to get into the park the whole year. This is the turnout to Red Rock Canyon, one of the more spectacular parts of the park. Unfortunately, it's closed for the winter still. They don't plow the roads during the winter for this area. So we'll have to check that out in a future video. On the right here, off this parking lot, is where the old visitor center was. That's one of the buildings that was totally destroyed by the wildfire. They're rebuilding it now in town. Oh, and there we see our first sign of wildlife from today. We're now heading into the town site here, and we'll spend a little more time later or in the next episode looking at and talking about the town site and what's happened since the fire 3 years ago. So now we're heading down into what is traditionally always our first stop in the park, and that is Cameron Falls, because that's one of the reasons you go to Waterton, but also it's very close to some bathrooms that are desperately needed about this time. Here we are at Cameron Falls in Waterton Lakes National Park. It's the end of February, and as you can see, Cameron Falls is almost entirely frozen shut. It's hard to tell if there's a little bit of water there or if that's just snow being blown around. But probably just a bit of ice, water flow underneath the ice there.
We're here at Waterton. Look at that. Everything is frozen. Look at there.
It's pretty common to see wildlife in Waterton. Very common are deer, mountain sheep, bears. Occasionally you'll see a moose or even a mountain goat, but deer are by far the more plentiful.
Waterton is kind of sad because it's too snowy and it's kind of freezing. Okay, where are we gonna eat lunch? Maybe
So it was coming up on lunchtime, and we had packed a lunch to bring along. So we parked here right next to Upper Waterton Lake. It's probably one of the windiest spots in the park, and this is where we had our lunch. Another reason we parked in this area for our lunch was we were testing some new equipment, and as I mentioned, this is a rather windy spot, so we were testing the wind performance on the built-in mic on the camera that Cecilia was using, which you can hear, and the mic that I'm testing out that has something that's supposed to cause the wind to not be so bad. So there I go, traipsing off straight into the wind to see how my mic performs in this wind. So by comparison, you can hear that the wind noise on this particular mic is not nearly as loud as it was on Cecilia's. You can still hear the snow crunching under my feet, and because of the wind, you can occasionally see the mic come into the shot, but sound-wise, it's doing much better.
The lake, it's all frozen.
Surprisingly enough, there's no one camping here in the town site campground. This was one of the areas that was completely redone, completely renovated after the fire. Expanded, better amenities. They did a really nice job of improving parking in the area. There's lots of additional parking, but also a lot of additional camping spots as well. So, good job. So, with microphone testing successfully completed, we head off to our next destination. There's a few other places in the park we want to check out yet today. It's probably going to be too long for this episode, so we'll probably make a part 2, and we'll post that shortly. So join us for that in the next little bit.